Alright, so John Kohler with discountjuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, I'm going to show you guys why you shouldn't make, yes, I'm going to say it, you shouldn't make nut milk in a juicer, right? So my name is John Kohler from discountjuicers.com. I started my company over 25 years ago now to get you guys the lowest price on juicers and also, more importantly, educate you guys about the nitty-gritty and comparing juicers and other equipment that allows you to process your plant foods the best ways possible. Today I'll be utilizing the Nama J2 juicer in this demo to make nut milk out of the cashews. I think it's great that many influencers online share with you guys how to make nut milk, because I'm 100% in favor of you ditching the cow milk, especially the ones that have added hormones and you don't know what the animals are being fed, GMOs, and they're being caged and treated horribly. And I would love you to start including more nut milks, whether you want to make that in a juicer like many influencers online show you guys, or whether you want to take it up a notch and even give yourself a more nutritious nut milk and even have an easier time making it and an easier time cleaning it. I'm all about making things easy in my life and removing steps whenever possible, and more importantly, getting more nutrition into me. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys in this episode. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pop up a study right here. The study title is called Health Issues and Technological Aspects of Plant-Based Alternative Milk. This study actually compares different kinds of nut milks and seed milks and alternative milks to cow milks. We're going to throw a table up right there, and it compares whole cow milk in terms of protein, total lipids, carbohydrates, fiber, total sugar, calcium, energy, right? And then it compares it to many nut milks. So for example, almonds, they compare to the raw material, meaning the raw whole almonds, right? You could see really raw whole almonds kick butt over in nutrition. More protein, more lipids, more carbohydrates, more fiber. Animal foods contain zero fiber. More total sugar, more calcium, and a lot more calories than the cow's milk, right? So that's if you eat whole almonds. Next up, you go down to the aqueous extract. What is an aqueous extract? Well, that is a milk. They literally put the almonds in the water, you ladle them in your juicer, and then you get an extract from some of the nuts into the water, and of course you generate a lot of pulp. So that aqueous extract that you are drinking as milk, and check out the protein on it, 0.42. So does that have as much protein as cow's milk? No, it has a fraction less. Total lipids, it has 1/3 approximately less lipids than cow's milk. It still has more carbohydrates than cow's milk, and still has more fiber than cow's milk, has more total sugar than cow's milk, still has more calcium than cow's milk, and has a little bit less calories than cow's milk. So in some way, even an aqueous extract is still better and healthier than drinking milk, cow's milk, in my personal opinion. That being said, you could get a lot more, because literally when you make the nut milk, you're literally throwing away the nut fiber. And I don't know if you guys check lately, but when I buy carrots, for example, they're like 60 cents a pound for organic carrots. So I don't mind throwing away some fiber, or actually I compost it. But when you buy almonds, they're like $5, $6, $7, $8 a pound, and then you're throwing away all this good stuff. And of course, if you subtract out the difference between the aqueous extract and the raw material, that is actually what is left in the pulp you guys are throwing away. So if you guys want to buy the best cashews, I recommend going to your local Costco, the Kirkland brand. They have organic whole cashews, unsalted, unroasted. I do like that they are actually not claiming raw, because these are heated in the processing of taking them out of the shell. And if you guys just go to a regular store like Trader Joe's, Sprouts, Whole Foods, and buy raw cashews, right? They're really not raw. They should really be labeled unsalted and unroasted, because they're not raw. They have been heated during the processes of getting them out of the shell. So they can't be considered a raw food if you are on a raw food diet. So if you're on a raw food diet and you eat some heat processed cashews, because you're not getting the really raw ones, you're no longer raw. Anyways, if you guys want to get the real raw ones, I know where to get those because I've been doing this a long time. You guys could just get hooked up with Matt Monarch over at the Raw Food World, and he has the organic raw cashews. These are the truly raw ones. They're at least like 3 or 4 times the price of the ones you're going to get at Costco. And you're going to see they have a dull sheen to them. This dull sheen is because they are basically processed by hand, taken out by hand, because there's a toxin on the cashew nut, right? So they got to wear gloves and all this kind of stuff. And if you look at the ones from Costco, they kind of have like a, you know, a sheen to them. You know, they're not quite as dull. They're more glossy, all right? So anyways, enough about that. Let's go ahead and go on with the study. So I've taken the data from the raw material and the aqueous extract for cashew nuts, and we put it into this bar graph right here. You guys can clearly see the protein content is in the red, and that's the raw cashew, and the blue line is in the aqueous extract. So there's 652% more protein when you eat the raw cashew than when you have the cashew milk. There is 825% more total lipids or fats in the raw cashew than the cashew milk. There is 703% more carbohydrates when you eat the raw cashew instead of drink the cashew milk. There is 450% more fiber when you eat the raw cashew instead of drink the cashew milk. There is 180% more total sugars when you eat the raw cashew than you drink the cashew milk. And there is a whopping 788% more calcium when you eat the raw cashews instead of turning into a milk. You know, most people don't look up published scientific studies and look at the nutrition facts and labels and all this stuff. And next time, even if you go to the grocery store and pick up a bottle of, you know, your favorite plant-based milk, a lot of the things are zero, unless, of course, the milk is fortified with additional minerals and additional vitamins like vitamin D and vitamin B12, which can be important for many people on a vegan diet or even just any diet for that matter in this day and age. You know, it's very deficient. That's because you're getting an aqueous extract. So they actually got to add in additional, you know, man-made vitamins and minerals and even, you know, other things, preservatives, guar gums, and all these stabilizers so that it stays fresh on the shelf, right? So, you know, what I really want to teach you guys in this episode is I want you guys to use the whole raw cashew to make the milk in a blender, right? Where you're blending up the nuts and the water and you can make a milk that way without separating out all the fiber. There's a lot of nutrition that you're throwing away in the fiber when you make it in a juicer. And this is what many influencers simply, unfortunately, don't tell you. And of course, the difference between the blue bar and the red bar, that is how much you're losing in the fiber. So literally, you're throwing a lot of nutrition out when you're throwing out your nut pulp. So hopefully that gets you to want to make nut milk in your blender, which is super simple, super easy. In the juicer, you gotta ladle in nuts and the water at the same time. In the blender, you just put the water and the nuts in and you just blend it on high and let it run for a little bit to break up all those nuts and to get them to a nice, small, fine particle size to literally get them pretty much dissolved in the water to have a nice, full-bodied nut milk. It's a much better way to go. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, John, I got a blender already. I can make the nut milk already in my blender. And I would say, you know, while you could do that, I would say I always teach you guys the best. I've been doing this stuff for 29 years, and I've researched so many things, and it's so important for me to educate people about being able to do it the best way possible. So that's why actually I don't recommend using a traditional blender where you're going to blend in lots of oxygen. It's going to cause oxidation to the fats, the proteins, and especially the antioxidants and other oxygen-sensitive compounds in your nut milk. So today I'm actually using a vacuum blender. This happens to be a Vitamix blender with a void system upgrade kit for the Vitamix. So now you can vacuum blend. What a vacuum blender does, it basically sucks out the excess oxygen before you blend. So you're blending in an up to 80% oxygen deprived container. So now you're gonna do significantly less damage to the oxygen-sensitive nutrients inside the blender. Now, why does this matter? Well, good thing I have another study for that. Recent innovations and emerging technological advances used to improve quality and process of plant-based milk analogs. So we're going to jump down to the study. I'm going to read a couple parts. Lipids are the main cause of the rancidity or oxidation process in foods, including plant-based milk. So, they're really talking about the MUFAs and the PUFAs that can oxidize and go rancid. Furthermore, it says rancidity is undesirable and could be toxic to consumers. Indeed, free radical initiated auto-oxidation of PUFAs could be implicated in many human diseases. We definitely don't want to be drinking rancid plant milks. A number of strategies could be used to resolve these problems. These include the control of packaging conditions such as light and oxygen, in addition to the control of storage conditions such as the controlling temperature, addition of antioxidants, etc. I would further add to that, it also depends on the processing. How was the nut milk made? Were you adding in tons of oxygen to it as you're making it? And traditional blenders add in tons of oxygen. And actually that's where the slow juicers have one up on traditional blending, because at least the Nama juicer runs at 50 revolutions per minute, introducing low amounts of oxygen. But the other thing is that you're leaving a lot of nutrients in the fiber that comes out, as we will show you guys in a little bit. So that's why you want to vacuum blend in an oxygen deprived environment. So when you're blending up and breaking open cell walls, releasing the PUFAs, the MUFAs, saturated fats from the nuts, as well as the antioxidants and other oxygen sensitive compounds, you have literally 80% less oxygen. So that's even going to be less than a slow juicer running at 50 RPM in just atmospheric conditions. You've now removed significant amount of oxygen, so now you're going to have more nutrition, it's going to store for longer, and it's going to go rancid less quickly. In addition, as you saw from the previous study, it's going to have significantly more nutrition. All right, moving down a bit more. Moreover, protein oxidation can occur in food products and result in changes of flavor, nutrition loss, texture, and formation of toxic compounds. So here's the thing, if you blend up a banana and water in a regular blender, right? Drink it, tastes all right. You let it sit for a couple, 3 hours, then you taste it, it starts to taste kind of funny. It doesn't taste as good as it used to. Now, I'm not saying toxic compounds are forming, but what I'm saying is there's polyphenol oxidase that are basically now inactivating the polyphenols, which are basically antioxidants, lowering the nutrition and giving those bananas an off flavor. I know this has happened to you when you made a smoothie with bananas in it and you let it sit for a couple, 3 hours, and then you could taste it. Bananas are something that you could really taste instantly when they go off, and if you were to, say, vacuum blend the bananas with water, do the same experiment even several hours later, because you're not mixing in all the oxygen, supercharging the polyphenol oxidase, that banana smoothie is going to taste very similar to when you took it out several hours before. Now think about, that's the one that you could really taste a lot, but even in the fact of nuts where, unless you're a super taster, you're not going to taste the difference between vacuum blending and traditional blending, during the storage time. That's when there's a multiplication factor of things going bad and rancid, because of all the dissolved oxygen that is now literally inside your nut milk that is now oxidizing and helping other fats go rancid the longer it is stored. All right, so that's really what I wanted to share with you guys. I believe that for the best nut milks, you should use a whole food nut milk. If you guys want to use a blender, you could do that. I'm going to show you guys right now. If you guys want to get some kind of fancy equipment to do that, the Nutrimilk does this as well. Link down below to the Nutrimilk. That being said, the Nutrimilk does do it in atmospheric conditions. So it's not a vacuum operation. That being said, it does get the nut milk to the finest texture that I've ever seen, and pretty much puts in the majority of the fiber, holding back only a little, so you have a really nice creamy, milky texture. That being said, let's go ahead and make some cashew milk in the Nama J2 juicer and the Vitamix with the Void Systems Vacuum Upgrade Kit for it. The Vacuum Upgrade Kit will work for all classic and legacy Vitamix models. It will not work for the new Ascent models. You're just basically gonna have to switch out the top. They send you a carafe, and then you have this handy dandy vacuum lid that I'll tell you guys about more in a minute. Now I'm going to show you guys how to make the nut milk in the vacuum blender and also the Nama J2 juicer. What I've simply done is I've taken 1 level cup of cashews and I've soaked them in a mason jar under vacuum in purified water for maybe 3 to 4 hours. At this point, they've expanded. I then drained out the water, and that's what I have here. 1 cup of cashews here, 1 cup of cashews here. The next thing is you will need clean, purified water. You can use something like coconut water if you want to take it up a notch to make it a little bit sweeter and have more minerals in there. And so what you're going to do for the nama is you're going to basically just take the cashews and dump them in the water, because you now want the 1 cup of cashews soaked in the 2 cups of water. With the vacuum blender, all you simply have to do is you just got to dump in the cashews and the water into the blender. So first, pour in the water. Second, dump the cashews. Next, we're going to go ahead and get this carafe set for vacuum blending. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to go ahead and take the Void Systems lid, turn it on. There are basically dual vacuum pumps in here that suck out the excess oxygen out of the headspace, also pull some of the oxygen out of the water and space in between the produce and even the produce itself. We're going to go ahead and put it on the top. And always when I push it down, I like to lift up this little red tab. That'll make sure you're able to push it down a lot better. We're going to go ahead and then check the seal all the way around. We have a good seal. And we're going to go ahead and press the go button. And you guys could hear there's dual vacuum pumps coming on that is now evacuating the excess oxygen out of the carafe. You guys could see the number on there is incrementing, and the number will increment to approximately 20, and then it'll shut off, letting you know that it is time to vacuum blend. You guys look closely inside the carafe, you may see some air bubbles rising up and coming up to the top. That is literally the excess oxygen that is being sucked out of the water and the cashews. This is mighty impressive. It got to 20 and then shut off. Should it dip below 20, it comes back on to keep it at 20. Keep in mind I'm using the HP or high pressure lid that is not yet available. Based on my testing, this pumps down to about 24 inches of mercury, and their standard lid pumps down to 21, which is currently available. Hopefully the high pressure will be available later this year or next year. So now we're literally ready to blend that up. And I think we're going to start the blender at the same time I am processing the nut milk in the nama. So we're going to run them the same amount of time. To process in the nama, you will need something else. You'll need a ladle, because now what you're expected to do, you need to pick up some of the cashews and water, even amounts of each, and then you're going to ladle it into the juicer as it's running. So, I mean, this is also a lot more work, all right? So first up, let's go ahead and turn that blender up on high. And I'm going to start ladling this in. We're going to fast forward this for you guys to save you guys some time. All right, so we got all the nuts and water into the nama J2. It's currently processing. And in a second, we're going to let it all out after the pulp stops moving. All right, the pulp stopped moving out of the J2. Let's go ahead and turn off the blender. As you guys can see, I forgot to tell you guys that you want to close the spout cap on your juicer. Normally, I recommend leaving it open, but when making nut milks, you actually want it to kind of go around inside the machine. And then you can finally open it up and you can see all your nut milk rush out. This is what everybody likes to see, all the nut milk rush out. Cool! It's rushing out, it looks amazing. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and turn it off, and we're gonna tip this up and get all the remaining nut milk that didn't drain out of the nama J2. We're gonna shut the spout cap. You guys can see we have a nut milk, and this is what many influencers will tell you to make. Hey, nut milk is great out of the J2. Here it is. So, oh, that's still vacuuming. It's sucking the excess oxygen out even after it's done and sitting. It is a bit warm to the touch, but still raw. It's not too hot. And we're still maintaining the vacuum at 20, so at no time during the blending did it introduce any significant amount of oxygen into our blended mixture. In addition, you guys can see the carafe is literally concave. It's like sucked in. So I've stopped it. We're going to let the air back in. I want you guys to look at the level of the nut milk as we do that. It's because it's expanded. Now it shrinks down. And now, as I'm holding this little flap up, I'm just going to go ahead and lift this top off. And now we're going to go ahead and pour our nut milk into this other 24-ounce mason jar. Look at that. That's nice, thick, and creamy. I'm seeing no chunks of cashews. And look at this. We filled it up nearly to the top, okay? So these mason jars are 3 cups or 24 ounces. This is pretty much full. Whereas on the Nama J2, we put in 2 cups of water and we had about 1 cup of the cashews, but yet we are maybe like 1 cup shy. You know, we're 1 cup down, because what you're missing here is over here. It's all the pulp. You are not going to get the benefits of this pulp. And if you guys look at this pulp, what does that pulp look like? It looks like cashew nut butter. You guys could buy cashew nut butter. It's quite expensive. You got to buy it. But when it comes out of your juicer and even sticks to your finger, I mean, it's a watery nut butter. But there's still lots of nutrition in it, all right? And literally, that's what you're going to normally be throwing away. Now, yeah, you could basically take that and run it back through with more water through your machine and get another extract. But you're still going to waste a lot of nutrients in here. 2 reasons. Number 1, you're running the produce through the blade. It gets hit once at 50 revolutions per minute. And the juicer is not as effective as grinding as the vacuum blender, because you have multiple hits on the cashews to fractionate that up into a fine powder. Literally, there are no big chunks of cashews in this nut milk. Furthermore, it rips open and blows open cell walls better than the Nama J2, because this is just grinds it once and kicks it out. This is having multiple hits, and because of that, it's being able to get the particle size even smaller, so that creates more surface area. So now you have better digestion, you know, because the cashews are broken down. You're going to get better food utilization. Of course, you're going to also reduce your food waste. Anyways, let's go ahead and taste test these 2 nut milks. We're going to go ahead and taste test the Nama J2 nut milk. And yeah, I mean, that looks like a good nut milk. It's white and everything like nut milk should be. We're going to go ahead and taste that for you guys on the camera. I mean, to me, and I'm really fanatical about nut milks as I am with my juices, I mean, it tastes like you have water with a little nut flavoring. Like, to me, this is a very watery nut milk. I don't know what you guys are used to. Some of you guys may like this, but now we're going to go ahead and try the full-bodied nut milk with the blended cashews. This is a lot thicker, a lot more creamy than this watery milk ever could be. I'm going to try this one. Wow. So I'm going to say, I mean, this tastes like water. The texture is like water. This, I'm going to say there is some minor texture to it. It's really smooth because all the fibers are broken down. I will say that I did use cashews, especially when soaked. They're softer and they're going to grind down a lot better than maybe, say, some other nuts that tend to be a lot harder. I mean, to me, that is quite acceptable, quite good. Most people don't just take their nut milk and drink it straight. Normally, you add it into cereal. You use it to make a smoothie. You use it to, you know, prepare food with and put in recipes. And to me, this is completely acceptable. And furthermore, it has significantly 400 to 800 times more macronutrients than the Nama J2 nut milk. Also done under vacuum to remove up to 80% of the oxygen, so you have better storability. I guess talking about storability, let me share with you guys how I'm going to store these nut milks for up to a week in the fridge. All right, so to store these nut milks, we want to exclude the oxygen from the nut milk. So in order to do that, we're going to need 2 things. We're going to need special vacuum lids with a vacuum port on there, so that we could actually easily remove it and take it off when we're ready to drink it. And then the second thing you'll need is a vacuum pump. I happen to be using the Pure vacuum pump. This pump pulls the most oxygen out of mason jars that I've tested. Up to 80% of the oxygen is removed, 26.5 inches of mercury. We simply put it on the top, and because it is 100% metal, designed really well with dual O-rings on the inside, we can literally pump this without much effort. And literally just in about less than 8 pumps, we've removed the excess oxygen out of the headspace, as well as some of the dissolved oxygen that may be in our nut milk. Putting this completely under vacuum, storing this without oxygen. All right, there you guys have it. We have these both under vacuum. The lids are stuck in, so even if we turn this on and have no rings on there, they're gonna stay under vacuum. This way I can keep them for up to a week in my fridge. So now I get to clean the equipment up, and let me ask you, which one is gonna be easier to clean? I could rinse out my blender carafe, rinse off the void systems lid, and I'm done making my nut milk. Or I could clean the hopper, I could clean this juicing screen, I could clean the wiping blade, I could clean the auger, I could clean the bowl, and I gotta clean the catch cup and have all this extra cashew paste to deal with. And a significant loss of nutrition and a nut milk that, in my opinion, does not taste as good. So, you know, that's pretty much the summary of my episode today. I really want to encourage you guys, you just blend your nuts up in the vacuum blender. That's the best way to process them. You're going to get more nutrition, also easier to clean. Don't screw around with making nut milks in a juicer. It just does not do a significantly good job at grinding the nuts up to extract all the delicious milk. And if for some reason you still want to use your juicer because you're just hard set on it, make sure you check my link down below where I show you guys the best way to make nut milk in a juicer. It's actually by vacuum blending the mixture up and then pouring that mixture, because now you've broken it down to a sufficient particle size and you're letting the juicer extract it, you know, if you want to remove the fiber. That being said, instead of just using the juicer to extract the nut milk, I would recommend using Alexa's bags, which are the best nut milk and juice bags that I use with the vacuum blender to make the most nutritious juices. And also you could now make your nut milks with it if you want to extract out some of the fiber. The Alexa's bag will keep the soluble fiber and some fine particulate in the milk if you don't want the texture in there. And actually that's my preferred method of making nut milks, even over and above taking the mixture and then pouring it through the juicer, which just adds a lot of extra work, and it's not as effective as you just squeezing out the blended mixture of nuts and water yourself. So if you guys want to buy the Nama J2 to make your nut milk or juices in the juicer, you want to use a coupon code NOTMILK, because actually I don't want you guys to do it, but if you still want to do it, use the coupon code NOTMILK. That'll save you guys 10% off the Nama J2 or any of the other Nama juicers, including the Nama J3, Nama C2, or Nama J1. I only like the Nama J2. It'll save you guys $55 off in the United States or 10% off around the world. Nama does have free shipping to the US 48 states and also free shipping to the European Union when ordering the European Union model that now ships out of their European Union warehouse. If you order from other countries around the world, you'll get discounted DHL shipping rates, and the price listed on the Nama website when you order is the inclusive price, including taxes and duties in your country. You guys want to order the Void Systems kit so that you can vacuum blend in your traditional Vitamix blender or even Blendtec by buying the lid, or just buy the Void Systems complete blender package. You guys can save $25 off this kit by using the coupon code DJ25 at void-system.com. And if you guys want to get the Alexa's bags, you guys could buy those at alexasbags.com. They include free shipping inside the United States. So I want to thank you for those of you guys that will use my coupon codes at Nama, at Void Systems, or buy the Alexa's bags. Not only will you save money when you guys use those coupon codes, but also you'll be helping me out because they'll share with me a small commission so I can continue to make these educational videos for you guys. Hopefully I've enlightened you and shared some information with you that you haven't heard or won't hear from other influencers that are just strictly trying to push the Nama J2 juicer and trying to get you typecast into making nut milks with the juicer, when in fact making nut milks in a vacuum blender is so much more superior. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. More importantly, be sure to share this video with other people that are still making their nut milks in a juicer so that they can learn the benefits of vacuum blending and making a whole nut milk. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss my new and upcoming episodes I've coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up, what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel, what new knowledge bombs I'll be dropping on you, what new juicers or vacuum blenders I'll be testing, unboxing, or comparing against each other so that you can find the right one for you. Make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as many videos come out. And finally, be sure to check past episodes. Past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 800 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to you guys all about how to process your fruits and vegetables and other plant foods the best ways possible to maximize your nutrition and your health. Links down below some of my favorite videos I've made in the past with the NAMA J2 as well as with the Void Systems vacuum blending kit. So with that, my name is John Kohler with discountjuicers.com. Be sure to visit discountjuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.